Yeah, actually, it's a New Year visit. Thank you very much. We decided that we, at the level of the National Working Committee, to pay a New Year visit to Mr. President and to congratulate him for all that we were able to accomplish last year, and also to commend Mr. President for the renewed hope as captured in the New Year message that was delivered to Nigerians. And I think it was also particularly important that it was published in print media, so that it's not that the usual, New Year broadcast. If you miss it, you miss it. Now this one, you can take it, you can analyze it, evaluate it, and see how it affects you, or how it affects your community, or how it affects your location or your business. We think that was quite significant. But like you know, in Nigeria, when good things happen, they don't command big headline news. For example, for the first time, or consistently under this president, people are now used to going for Christmas without having to worry whether or not there is petroleum products in the market. A few years back, people were always afraid of what will happen during the Christmas season. All your savings, all the small money you are taking home to celebrate with your people, you end up patronizing black market to buy a gallon of, a liter of PMS at 2, 3, 4 times the value, and sometimes it is adulterated. And we see pictures of people who are stranded across the country because they cannot access PMS. Again, these are things we are now able to, with pride, take for granted. And I also think that we ought to celebrate the fact that we are able to celebrate Christmas and New Year, and people have rice everywhere that were not imported from other countries. Nigerian-made rice. I bought some quantities of rice to share in line with the tradition, and all these were Nigerian-made rice. They taste better, they are not expired, they are more nutritious. And for me, this is how a nation grows and eventually becomes self-sufficient. Now, if we can sustain this policy for another 1 year or 2 years, and Nigerians get used to eating Nigerian-made rice, and our farmers have ready market for rice, obviously, that aspect of food security will be put behind us. And we thought it was something that we should commend the president for what he has done and the courage to put Nigeria first before any other settlement. So we can say that we can see a gradual revolution taking place in the agricultural sector. We also thought that, given the reaction of some of opposition, to reassure Mr. President that there was nothing wrong, and we are indeed happy with the New Year message to Nigerians, because the responsibility of every leadership is to inspire hope. Life is sustained and driven by hope. And the challenge of leadership is not to join the people to lament that things are terrible, to give up, and join the people in wallowing in self-pity. The responsibility of leadership is to inspire people, give them hope, and in this case, in line with the principle of accountability and democracy. Democracy is not just about voting and everybody goes to sleep. It's about the leadership explaining periodically what he is doing, what he's going to do differently, and what he hopes to accomplish within a given time. And I think that is what the President New Year message sought to do. And I'm surprised that there are people who wonder, why should the president reassure Nigerians that he's not going to do third term? Because third term was planted by PDP. It is still in the subconsciousness of most Nigerians that the first Nigerian president tried to do third term, emptied the treasury to bribe members of the National Assembly, and since that president left, thanks to the National Assembly, no any other president has done 8 years in office. You will recall that President Yaradua, unfortunately, has since joined his ancestors. And President Jonathan did 6 years. So by the special grace of God, this will be the first president who, we pray, will do the 8 years complete in line with the provisions of the Constitution. And because there's a level of idleness within a section of the political class, people can sponsor all kinds of publications as to give doubt whether or not president is planning to stay longer. And I think his decision that at every point he needs to remind Nigerians he is not about to do what a PDP president did. For me, it is necessary. In any case, it costs us nothing other than reassurance, I'm leaving. But then he went on to say, between the last electoral act and all the elections that have been conducted, a couple of lessons have been learned. Listening and evaluating judicial pronouncement on election petition tribunals, there are clear lessons to be learned. And the president has said, even as I'm not going to contest again, I owe this country obligation to clean up the electoral process based on observed gaps and weaknesses here and there, so that I'll be leaving behind a legacy of free, fair, and credible elections. That anybody will find fault with that, again, it can only happen by people who have not overcome the fact of their defeat, after 60 years of misrule. So we came essentially to assure the president that most well-meaning Nigerians are with him. They appreciate the hope, and the challenge now is to work hard to ensure that all of those promises that he has made, he will deliver in 2020, that we keep our word, because our word must be our bond with the people of Nigeria. And as a party, we are conscious of the fact that it is the performance of this president and of this government that will be the basis for approaching the electorate in 2023. And so we are clear that all our creative energy, whatever opinion, advice, observation that we have, all members of APC, rank and file and leadership level, must find time to reflect and contribute ideas on how to ensure that by this time, 2021, we'll be able to look back and say, President said, I will deliver on X, Y, Z. At the end of the day, he did. And then we have a message for 2021. I think this is how nation grows. There's always a time lag between when decisions are taken and when they mature. And the responsibility of leadership is to be able to carry the people along as you commence the process of rebuilding the country and in our shared commitment to take Nigeria to the next level. This is the summary of our visit to Mr. President. The President has a lot of humor. We discuss it, and just like we also said, and I think the media is part of it, good news don't command headlines. I have never seen an headline that says there was no fuel scarcity anywhere in Nigeria this season. And then they bring back pictures of Jonathan era, of Obasanjo era, where people were crying, middle of the road, they are stranded, there is no fuel, or they bought adulterated fuel and their car knocked. And I see TV cameras interviewing people, how do you feel? And you see little children who have been sleeping on the road. You don't get those. Why? Because good news are not supposed to be marketed, unfortunately. But we have a duty as government to market good news. People already will want to amplify the bad news. But when there's good news, we should do so. Number two, there are a lot of parts of the country that people could not drive during this last rainy season. And thanks to the federal government and the Honorable Minister of Works, I mean, let me speak, for example, the road between Benin and Auchi, my own local government. Just 3 months back, 4 months back, it can take you 5-6 good hours from Benin to Auchi, such that when I get to Benin, I'd rather fly back to Abuja, rather go and see my old mother in the village. But this last week, I drove from Benin to Auchi, and it took me only 2 hours. But you know, you are not going to find camera people showing that. You know, this past few weeks of dry season, a lot has been done to improve part of the road network in Nigeria. So every leader needs to be encouraged. Why the opposition will amplify what is wrong and even distort facts that are right, we as a party have a duty to amplify what we have done differently. So I think it was a nice visit. I believe the president was happy. We are also very excited. So thank you very much for being here. And I told you.